I put a lot of thought in today's and tomorrow's lesson. I put together a lot of experience, years of teaching this particular concept, and I connected it to what you need to know. And the reason I did that was because of requests from this class, because this class, I would say more than the others, need this particular topic. So, based on the seriousness of the topic and the amount of time and effort that I put in thinking about how I would discuss it this time, I need cooperation or I will just stop. Because there are other classes who actually want to discuss this topic, but they have to wait until next week. So the preparation will not go to waste. This topic in the past has been one that didn't have the relevance that it has now. And I tell you why. Because in the previous SAT, most students skipped this part of the SAT. And they could afford it because it wasn't a very big part of the SAT. Or should I say, the writing section of the SAT. So they changed it to make it the writing section of the SAT, forcing students to deal with it. That's why this becomes more important than sentence structure, which in the past, sentence structure was more important than this. Times have changed, so I decided to adjust how I teach the paragraph to match that situation. Now, we have discussed sentence structure, so I must say that our discussion of the paragraph will not involve grammar because we've already dealt with that. So now you're going to have to make the connection between grammar and sentence structure, and you have to apply it to the paragraph. But paragraph structure in itself is the topic that we're going to discuss, because actually very confusing to me, young ladies, actually very confusing to me, students are confused about paragraph structure when actually, when we're talking about paragraph improvement, is the easiest part of it. But I think probably most students don't understand the paragraph improvement questions because they don't understand what the question is asking them about the paragraph itself. They get the grammar, they get the sentence structure, but when it comes to paragraph improvement questions, they're a bit confused. And I think I know why. And it's much the same reason that students get confused with the reading section, is because they don't like the reading section. They don't read. But this is because they don't write. If you don't write paragraphs, then you never learn how to improve your paragraphs. And if you don't know how to improve your own paragraph, you probably won't be able to improve someone else's, which paragraph improvement questions are asking you to do. So our first beginning of our conversation has to start here. What is a paragraph? Because now you got to go all the way back to the beginning. If you're having trouble improving a paragraph, it may be because you don't understand what a paragraph is. Ms. Salma, I feel insulted because it is you that said you wanted to discuss this topic. A paragraph is a group of organized sentences that contains a topic sentence, a concluding sentence, and covers one main idea. So the basic rule here is one main idea per paragraph. One main idea per paragraph. Not multiple main ideas in a paragraph. No, that is not how a paragraph is structured. So obviously, to improve a paragraph, you have to bring it back to its essence, which is to make sure we're only discussing one main idea. You don't want a paragraph that wanders around aimlessly discussing this and that. It has to be focused on one thing, and you deal with that one thing throughout the entire paragraph. Put up your phone, Mr. Ziad. Thank you. Now, if you can't get this definition, you ain't going to be able to get an improving paragraph. As simple as that. Because after this definition, then we go into the details of how we can write a good paragraph. So understand this. We're going to discuss paragraph, the concept, from 2 points of view. One, how to write one, because that's the whole reason why we are discussing paragraphs. But then there's a second reason why, maybe more important to you, and that is how to improve a paragraph that someone else has written. So I need for you to look at this topic from those two ways, because you're going to need both of them, because you have to learn how to write paragraphs properly. But of course you also need to know how to improve the paragraphs of others. So we're both here. We're here for two reasons. Some of us here are here for one more than the other. Okay, so as I said, we're going to start from the beginning, so let's start from the beginning. No way I can complete this in 2 days if we go slow. We have to talk about the types of paragraphs, because I need to warn you that there is more than one type of paragraph, and although the standardized test that you're being tested with, the SAT, usually deals with the most common one, there's nothing that says that they can't switch it up and and test you on another type of paragraph. So here are the types of paragraphs. Inductive, mixed, transitional dialogue, and deductive. And although the SAT primarily deals with, in paragraph improvement, with one of these, there's nothing that says, or nothing that will keep them from testing you on more than one of these. So if you're looking for certain elements in the paragraph to be in certain places, and it's not in that place, and you think, okay, something's wrong. No, something's not wrong. What they're doing is they are testing you on another type of paragraph, one of these other types. So let's deal with each type individually, but I want to move through this quickly because this is not something that we should spend a lot of time on. So first, let's talk about inductive paragraphs. The essential thing here to remember is that in an inductive paragraph, the topic sentence, the main idea of the paragraph, comes at the end, as opposed to where it usually is. So if you come in contact with a paragraph where the main idea is at the end, that's okay. There are certain paragraphs that do that. And everyone in here has written one of those paragraphs before. So everyone in this room has written an inductive paragraph before. The introduction of every essay is an inductive paragraph because you write the thesis at the end. And the thesis is the main idea of the introduction paragraph. So, there is a really good chance that you would come in contact with an inductive paragraph. So keep that in mind, that an inductive paragraph, one example is, of course, an introduction paragraph where you have a thesis at the end, because the thesis is obviously the main idea of that particular paragraph. Okay, then we have mixed paragraphs. Mixed paragraphs is where the topic sentence can come in the middle somewhere. So, of course, it's not in the place where you think it is, or it should be. It's in the middle. We call that a mixed paragraph. Then we have transitional paragraphs, and these are really usually short 1-2 sentence paragraphs, only acting as a connection between the paragraph that comes before it and after it. So you're not going to have standard elements in a paragraph like this. You're not going to have a conclusion, probably not going to have a topic sentence. So you have to be aware that transitional paragraphs, usually short, coming in between 2 standard paragraphs. We call these transitional paragraphs. If ever, and I haven't seen it yet, you're tested on a transitional paragraph, it's probably going to be a question asking you, is sentence whatever a good transition between paragraphs, this and that? I mean, but I don't even think they have those types of questions on the SAT. So let's move on. Dialogue paragraph. It's just usually a very small 1 to 2 sentence paragraph that comes in between 2 standard paragraphs. It connects them, because maybe the main idea of one paragraph and the other paragraph kind of far from each other, so you need those 2 sentences to connect them. It wouldn't be a supporting, it'd be like a transition. It'd be like more than writing a transitional word at the beginning of the next paragraph. It gives you more information to help you transition into the next main idea. Huh? What do you mean, when does it come? There's no particular place for it. It's just a particular style. You don't want to mention the topic at the beginning. Maybe you want to mention it at the end. Inductive, in the middle. Inductive, you want to mention it at the end. These are just types of paragraphs. Types of paragraphs. Okay, dialogue paragraphs. I need the red group to stay focused. I need the red group to stay focused. You should stay focused and listen to the questions of other students. You should listen to the questions of other students, because they could be saying something that you wanted to know and you forgot you wanted to know it or need to know. Dialogue paragraphs exclusively for some type of dialogue literature like plays or a book where there's a lot of going back and forth between characters. Those paragraphs can be one word. It can be a simple answer, yes or no. Yellow group, pay attention. It can be a simple answer, yes or no. That answer itself has to be by itself, and it is considered a paragraph, that one word. So I doubt very seriously you're going to be tested on dialogue paragraphs. But, like I said, there's no guarantee. The type of paragraph that you will find most cases on the SAT is the dialogue paragraph, right? Pay attention. The deductive paragraph. I saved it for last because it is the best example of what you're going to be faced with. This is the one everybody knows how to write. The reason you're tested on it so heavily is because this is the one you learned how to write first, the one that teachers harped on year after year, and this is the one you should be able to write with your eyes closed. And this is why they ask you to improve them, because you should be able to do that with these standard topic sentence at the beginning, concluding sentence at the end paragraph, supporting sentences in the middle. This is standard procedure here. So you should have no problem with these paragraphs whatsoever. Easy peasy. Most of body paragraphs are going to be in this form. Going back to Ms. Bissan's question, Ms. Bissan, mixed paragraphs, you're usually going to find it in the beginning and the end. In the middle, you're going to find deductive paragraphs. Okay. Review. What is a paragraph? Okay. Excellent. Yes, with one main idea. Let's move on. Red group. Red group. I think your trouble is you can't identify. You are having trouble distinguishing between support information and the main idea. But this is why we're talking about. This is an excellent question Ms. Farr just asked. This is why we're talking about the elements of a paragraph. Because we said that deductive paragraphs are paragraphs that are usually tested on the SAT. Their elements are topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. So that means that you're going to have a topic sentence. That topic sentence is going to contain the main idea. Yes? You're going to have supporting sentences that are going to support that main idea. And then you have a concluding sentence. So the question that you just asked me is you're having trouble identifying are telling the difference from support sentences, the topic sentence, and the concluding sentence. So let's talk about it. Now you remember when we talked about the essay. When we discussed the essay, we said the essay has points and examples. Yeah? Right? All of this deals with the support information. Now, when we're talking about support information, when we're talking about writing sentences in a paragraph, understand and remember the definition of a sentence. The definition of a sentence is a group of organized words that contain subject-verb relationship and expresses an idea. So each sentence is going to have its own idea. But here's the question. Is that idea the idea for the paragraph, or is that idea the idea for that support sentence? Because the main idea of a paragraph is going to embody all the ideas in that paragraph. You get? So always ask yourself this. Is this talking about all the ideas in the paragraph, this sentence, or is this sentence just talking about an idea that goes under the idea that's representing the paragraph? Because a sentence has an idea, a paragraph has a main idea, and you're being tested on your ability to distinguish between the two. So support information, points and examples are going to be sentences in themselves by alone. And all those sentences are going to have an idea. But those ideas are going to come under the main idea of the paragraph. And the main idea of the paragraph should be in the topic sentence, because you're being tested usually on deductive paragraphs, where the topic sentence that contains the main idea comes at the beginning and the concluding sentence comes at the end. I need you to remember this point, because when we go over SAT questions, when we finish talking about the structure of a paragraph, then you'll be able to see a little clearly what that question is asking you. Okay, so visual clues. How do we know when a paragraph begins and ends? This is elementary information. If we go back in time, this is how everything was written. There were no punctuation marks. There was no indenting. There was just a bunch of letters all put together. They could decipher what's being said, but for sure it wasn't easy. Miss Summer, read. No, let Miss Summer read it.
The way people
One stroke with no between note and no space before
and with
and new paragraph and new paragraph
between
and most of us realistic with that.
And most of us would agree.
So one stroke and no space and no space before agree that a lot or
Sit up, Mr. LeMay. Sit up, sir. Okay. Far just asked me a question. Far said, why are you having us to read this? Here's the point. You have to be able to write paragraphs and distinguish your own main ideas. Now, we tried to do that when we learned how to write an essay. And in the thesis, we wrote 2 or 3 things that we wanted to discuss. Miss Summer, this is so essential for you to understand. We wrote 2 or 3 things in the thesis. And I said each thing in the thesis that we're going to use to support our position will become a paragraph. Will become a main idea for a paragraph. When you wrote the paragraphs, you had to distinguish each paragraph by doing something. Making a space, indenting, to give a visual clue. Visually, it's easy to distinguish one paragraph from the next. Visually. So I don't believe that is the problem we're having. The problem we're having is, when do we end the paragraph? When does a main idea end? When do we start the next main idea? So we tried to make that easy for ourselves when we talked about how to write an essay, by putting it in the thesis. 2 things or 3 things, so that we know that we only discuss this main idea in one paragraph. Coherence in paragraphs. Coherence in paragraphs, easily understood by the reader. What do we mean by coherence? Okay, so I'm going to do something that I stopped doing a long time ago. I'm going to start deducting for talking. I haven't done that in years. In years, I haven't done it. This elementary, but I got to do it now.
Why?
Because you're interrupting a very important lesson by your talking. I will begin deducting. No longer will you be getting participation grade 100%. Some of you just lost 2% off your participation grade today. I'm going to be extreme with my deduction. I'm not going to play. Along with the deduction, I will write a referral form so that at the end of the quarter, when you come to question your grade, I will have documented the day and why. I'm probably the most lenient when it comes to talking during a lesson, but it's not when I'm having a lecture. And I made that clear. When we're doing activities, as long as I can hear myself think, I don't have a problem. When we're doing a lecture, I told you, you have to be quiet. If you end up at the end of the quarter losing all 20% of your participation grade, I will have documented why. That's a big part of your grade. Do not play with me with the grade. We will continue. Coherence of a paragraph. Coherence. Incoherent is usually the word that you hear. Incoherent means that you cannot follow what is being said. It either has no logic or in most cases it's out of order. It doesn't have any order. So when we're writing, in order for the reader or to make it easy for them to follow what is being said, we provide bridges, we provide verbal and logical bridges. Verbal transitional words, logical by putting things in order. Every writer is bound to this agreement. And this is where paragraph improvement questions come in. Because you read so much that when a writer does not use logical bridges, putting things in order, or verbal bridges, transitional words, you notice something is wrong. You notice you're supposed to be able to notice something's wrong. When they ask you to improve paragraphs, they sometimes ask you to make the logical and verbal bridge clearer. If it's out of order, they say, where would sentence 5 be best placed in the paragraph? After sentence 2, after sentence 3, before sentence 4. Because they want to know whether you can tell how to logically place things in the order. You know what the main idea is. If there's supporting information and that information is obviously chronological or in order of importance, then you should be able to place that sentence correctly. Logical bridges. The same main idea of a topic is carried throughout the sentence. Successive sentences can be constructed in parallel form. Verbal bridges, keywords repeated. Transitional words are important words that the author feels that are important. Could be pronouns that refer to nouns in other places. Obviously, if that is out of place, we already know that it's going to create some ambiguity and confusion. And hence, where we have to improve it to make it make sense. Okay. The topic sentence. I see more questions dealing with the topic sentence than any other question when it concerns improving a paragraph. So knowing when a topic sentence is needed, in other words, knowing when a topic sentence is missing, or when a topic sentence is out of place, when support sentence, that's actually support sentence, and the next sentence is a topic sentence, and they should be swapped, or only support sentences exist, and a topic sentence should be added, and that's usually what the question is asking you to do. Add a sentence at the beginning, and you have to choose which sentence to add, but of course you can't choose that unless you read the rest of the paragraph. so forth and so on, but many of those questions deal with topic sentences. So let's look at this. Although most people believe that man's best friend is a dog, I think it should be a cat. Read this and tell me, is this a good topic sentence to go with this paragraph? Later. I'm asking Mr. Okay, good. Is it good? Why?
Well, first of all, he's saying that dogs, cats are better than dogs, and then he said, he explains why cats are better. So it connects. It's not random. It's sequence. It's basically giving you more information about what he's trying to say.
Okay, so in other words, you're saying that this is just support information, yes?
Yes.
And everything that's mentioned here...
The first one is like the topic, and then, that's just support for that. Okay,
so everything here goes under this?
Yes.
You agree with that, Ms. Farr?
Mostly under, I think, it should be.
Yes, you agree with that? Oh, okay. Sit up, Ms. Faffin. Sit up, Ms. Faffin. It gets more exciting as we go. Okay, so... why do we need a topic sentence? Huh?
To introduce your paragraph.
To introduce your paragraph. I like the way Satin put it. Satin, say it again. To identify the main idea. Hit the door for me, Miss Satin. Hit the door for us. Okay, so based on what Ms. Fatten just said, she's saying that the topic sentence should have the main idea. Is that what you're saying? That's where we should look for it at. Introduces the idea of the paragraph. Acts as a guide for the writer. You should be writing this down. Lets the reader know what that particular paragraph will discuss. Helps the reader focus as to what information will be covered in the paragraph. I need everybody who is actively engaged with this art of improving paragraphs. You must remember these points. These are the exact things you have to ask yourself before you attempt to answer a paragraph improvement question that's dealing with the topic sentence. You have to ask yourself these questions. Especially when you're being asked to place a sentence at the beginning of a paragraph. This becomes a checklist. If you can't check all of these, I wouldn't choose that sentence. On the other side, if you're the writer, Ali, if you're the writer, this still becomes a checklist. This still becomes a checklist. And this checklist becomes, did I put a topic sentence? And did I put everything under that topic sentence? Does it support that topic sentence? This is why the topic sentence, listen very closely, Ms. Farr, the topic sentence must cover everything that's under it. The supporting sentence may not do that. Supporting sentences are going to mention one thing. It's going to talk about one thing. Specifically, the topic sentence is talking about everything in general. Yes. Well, yeah. It's so actually it's comfortable. It's comfortable, very comfortable. What's missing? Miss Farr, what's missing? Miss Basan, Miss Asar, Miss Summer. Okay, Miss Farr, what's missing? Supporting details. Okay, Miss Thacker. You said the top. You sure? You sure the first sentence is not the topic sentence? Yes. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Let's just continue. How about this one? How about this one? What's missing? Miss Salma, is there a topic sentence here? Huh? You sure the first sentence is not a topic sentence? Okay, let's just move on. How about this one? You say the topic sentence? You sure the first sentence is not topic sentence? Okay. Could you say that? I mean, but this is kind of important for you too.
No, there's nothing missing.
Okay, nothing missing. Okay, so all right. What was missing? I can tell you, all of them were missing a topic sentence. See now, herein lies the base of the problem. We're having difficulty identifying the difference, or telling the difference between support and topic. So when you're asked to improve the paragraph, and you can't tell the difference between topic and support, no way you're going to get that question. There's no way it's going to happen. Go back to the points, the checklist. Think about it carefully. It should introduce the idea. Which one? Do the rest of the sentences support that idea? We have to read carefully when we're dealing with improving paragraphs. It's proofreading. Now, I know you don't like proofreading your own work. Most students hate it. Never take the time to do it. But you have to do it on the SAT. And it's not even your work. You have to read carefully. Let's look at the first one here. This is the one we said maybe not a topic sentence. Ms. Fatton, you said no topic sentence. Yes? Okay then, Ms. Fatton. Give me a topic sentence. Miss Fatton. Wait a minute. We finish this, then we go. Miss Fatton. Hold tight. Hello. B? Who agrees with B? You think C? It is B. Hello. I need everybody to listen to this comment, especially those who are still taking the SAT. If you're having difficulty improving paragraphs, this gets down to the root of the problem. Not being able to tell the difference between a topic sentence and supporting sentence. We're going to continue this conversation tomorrow.